My name is Robert Gibson and I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and I put this event together. It's really one of the first largest cross-borough assemblies in Crystal Palace. We have a unique issue where we've got 5 boroughs that come together in Crystal Palace, so I wanted to bring the politicians together to address the community's needs on a cross-borough rather than sort of a local hustings level, to address the bigger needs. We've a lot of big issues in Crystal Palace. The community is very strong, it's got a loud voice, and it does a lot of things for itself, but we're trying to get more political engagement. And this is the first, I hope, of a series of events that will draw the local politicians together to work harder on behalf of the community, and not to just concentrate on party or borough issues, but to see the bigger picture from the point of view of Crystal Palace residents.
I'm Matthew Bennett. I've been a Labour councillor for Gypsy Hill, which is one of the Lambeth wards, for the last 4 years, along with Jenny Brathwaite and Niranjan Francis. We had a really good turnout tonight. I think there were a lot of very important issues, but if you were to pick just 2, obviously it's the development on Crystal Palace Park and the fact that there hasn't been enough information about what's going in there, and at the moment that's creating a vacuum. People don't know what's going on. It's naturally feeding resentment. We very much need to know very quickly what the plans are going to be, so that the public can have time to digest it and have a proper consultation to make an informed decision on it. And until that comes out, it's very difficult for the community or us as politicians or candidates to respond to that. I think the second big issue was around the library and connected to the library education. And the Upper Norwood Library has been there for over 100 years. It's a fantastic shared community resource, which was always funded jointly by Croydon and Lambeth. And after the 2010 election, the Conservative Council in Croydon just announced they were going to close it and pull out their funding, and they even appointed a valuer to sell the building off. We fought very hard in Gypsy Hill as councillors to save the library and keep it open. We really want to hand it to a community trust, funded by councils, properly funded public service, but controlled by the local community, and we're pleased that's going to be going ahead. And connected to that is the shortage of school places, exacerbated by the fact that government won't allow councils to open schools. But Paxton Primary in Gypsy Hill is being expanded from 1 form to 3 forms, and we're also going to provide, if Labour wins the election in Lambeth, free breakfasts and childcare before school at every primary school in Lambeth.
My name is Graham Peacock. I'm a Conservative. I'm from the London Borough of Lambeth, and I'm a candidate in the borough elections. This evening we mentioned many things, but really importantly, and underlying the discussions, is the issue of local government itself, where in the London boroughs a small number of very powerful politicians have, in my opinion, far too much power. They pay themselves a lot of money. We might say they're on a gravy train. They meet typically behind closed doors. Their decisions are rubber stamped by the council. In fact, very often the decisions don't even go to council. They have a public meeting, because by law they have to, called the Cabinet, but they've already made the decision in the informal Cabinet in private. The public Cabinet meeting is just a public relations exercise, and people very often don't realise that, but that's the way it is. There are no opposition spokesmen allowed. The Cabinet is a one-party Cabinet.
My name's Tom Papworth. I'm the Liberal Democrat councillor for Crystal Palace ward in the London Borough of Bromley. 2 of the biggest issues. I mean, the park development is enormous. It's an outside billionaire who's offering to spend £500 million of regeneration in the local community, and that's not something that you can ignore. That could potentially create thousands of jobs and really regenerate the area. But it comes with challenges, because he's proposing building on parkland that has been undeveloped for nearly sort of 70, 80 years. So it's a hugely divisive issue for local people, and that's why we have to have events like this, where we talk to people, where we listen to people, and we try to make sure we reflect what they want to see in the park. The other obvious one is the libraries issue. I mean, we have 2 libraries here. We have the library up in the town centre in the Upper Norwood Library, and then down the road we have Anley Library in my ward. And what one saw in the past was the councils that ran one would say, we can close that because you can go down the hill to the other. And then my borough would say, oh, we can close this one because you can go up the hill. And they would play off with one another, and it was only after a while that we got live to the fact that they were basically both planning to close the library. So, I've fought to save my library, and people are fighting to save the Upper Norwood Library as well. But at the end of the day, the decisions are made by people who are, who are far away in the city centre, who have very little interest in maintaining library services around here.
I'm Tom Chance from the Green Party. For us, the biggest issue in this election is what's going to happen in the park and whether we sell off a large part of it for commercial development and lose that. We're also interested in regeneration in the area being led by the community instead of being dropped on them from outside, and we really want to see air pollution reduced in the area and litter dealt with.
I'm Angela Wilkins. I'm the candidate for the Labour Party for Crystal Palace ward in Bromley. Bromley is a very different borough, differs across the borough, if you like. That's still not representative of anywhere at all, and it's completely unsatisfactory. My answer to that was in recognising it as well, was just to say that parties have a responsibility, and I think the Labour Party does pretty well on this, but parties have got a responsibility to try and encourage more candidates to come forward, to join the party in the first place, but then to actually put themselves forward for candidacy, and the party has to help and train and support those people. And as individuals, I think it's also down to me to go out and make sure that I talk to all people in the community and make the extra effort, because sometimes with language difficulties you have to be a little bit more patient and so on, and it's a responsibility for all people who are involved in local government to do this.